Let's talk about somebody else who's in a little hot water in this era. It's reported in the Observer, as hard as this was to believe, and I still can't believe this is a story. Dave Hebner was officially fired 2 days after being put on suspension in the merchandising scandal. According to Dave Meltzer, the apparent story is Dave, who was in charge of merchandise, would take merchandise that was listed as being comped and then sell it in stores owned by he and Earl. The St. Louis store in question, called the Pro Shirt Shop, was not owned by Dave, but owned by Earl and Nick Renendower. I probably screwed that name up. And after the scandal went down, it was said that he purchased Earl's interest in the store, and wrestlers from the past have heard rumors of this behavior going back a decade, but nobody knows if there's any truth to it. Now, to be clear, I have read Earl Hebner's book, and Earl tells the complete story. And from what I have read from Earl, it looks like he was simply embroidering the logo, the WWE logo, on other outside the tent products. Like if someone had a really nice, say, a zip up or a hoodie or a windsuit or something like that, that they got from Nike or something like that, they would get it to Dave or Earl, whoever it may have been. And then their company, or their friend's company rather, was able to embroider the logo, the WWE logo, onto that product. So this is not an officially licensed product. It's not a product that's being sold by WWE. Now, as I understand it, according to the Hebners, they weren't actually selling these. They were simply doing it for guys who worked for the company. And I guess through the years, they'd even made some for Stephanie and other folks. But I guess it rubbed someone wrong at some point. Or what really happened, as best as you can recall, with this whole Hebner merchandise scenario that brings a long run to an end?
Well, it's hard to explain. I can't explain it that well. I obviously got involved because it was against company policy, and we were going to terminate a long-term productive employee in Hebner. I we can peel the onion back as often as we want, as frequently as we want, but it all comes back to money. You know, the company felt like that they weren't getting their share of monetizing their logo, and their logo was like cash. So someone stealing your logo is like someone stealing cash from you. That might be oversimplifying it, but that's how I saw it. It's all about the money, and it's also the fact that they tried to, uh, avoid the process, and it was like stealing in that regard. And the thing I hated about it was that we're going to lose a very valuable employee, and we did. That was very unfortunate.
Yeah, very unfortunate. And I think one of the more unfortunate things for me, and I don't know, I wasn't there, but I think as the Hebner story goes, is Earl never got a chance to speak to Vince. And to me, it just feels like if you're going to fire a guy who's been with you, I don't know, 15, 20 years, I don't know, having a conversation with the boss isn't too much to ask. Do you remember that being a thing where, because
Yeah,
I've heard about Vince, that Vince would just move on. Hey, it's in the rearview mirror. We're moving on. Who cares?
yeah.
And I think, there were some people on the other side of that who feel like, hey, I care. I'd like to have a 10-minute conversation, and they never afforded the opportunity. Is that right?
Pretty much, yeah. Once he was done with you, he's done. I can speak from experience. No matter how valuable you might have been at one point in your professional life, or how good you did your job, or how well you were versed in doing your job, when he was done with your ass, he was done. And so that was, it proved to be unfortunate at times. The Hebner situation is a good example. I mean, like you said, you're logical. You know, the guy's been with me forever. He's done a good job. He's been involved in angles. He's not missed any shows. He's loyal. All those things counted for nothing. And that's just not the right way of doing business, in my opinion.
Yeah, I wish that it would have had a different end. I also want to talk about a long run coming to an end here for Dennis and Lynn Brent. I know they've been friends of yours for a long time. even back in the WCW days. But it's written here in the Observer that they're going to be finishing up with the company. And it said not really to have anything to do with the recent cuts, but more because they had moved from Connecticut to Texas. They both have mothers who are getting up there in age and in poor health. Dennis has been working as an independent contractor, helping arrange autograph sessions for wrestlers and other public appearances. And Lynn is working from home in talent relations, and people seem to like working with her, but the company decided against continuing this relationship. This puts you in a bad spot. These are real friends of yours.
Great friends. You know, Dennis passed away a few months ago. I think he had MS, severe case, obviously. Lynn is the best employee I ever had. Best worker, most loyal, most versed, skilled. She knew how to handle talent. She was so small that she was non-threatening. And she had a doctor's degree. A lot of people don't even know that. But Lynn had she's Dr. Lynn Brent to you, Conrad. So, but they were just great friends. We're always neighbors in Atlanta and in Connecticut. So it was just put me in a tough spot. You know, Jan would cook and Dennis loved her food, and who wouldn't? Especially the Italian stuff she would whip up. So, yeah, that was tough times. It goes with the territory, and it's not a fun part of the territory.
It's kind of hard to believe this, Jim. Time flies, but this past Monday was actually the 1-year anniversary of the passing of Dennis Brent. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. Dennis is such a good guy. I don't know if anybody that was the only person that rivals Dennis as a fan of the industry that I've worked with is Howard Finkel. The Fink and Dennis Brent were cut out of the same cloth, and I never had I never had a day with those guys where I felt like they phoned it in. No matter how meaningless their job descriptions may have seemed, they did it. They did their job well, on time, with efficiency, and I couldn't say anything better about guys like Howard and Dennis. And I talked to Lynn a couple of times since Dennis passed away. I always often wondered. I didn't ask her because I thought it was getting a little too personal. But he had an amazing collection of memorabilia. I mean, one of the most impressive. He collected wrestling stuff, obviously, but he also collected Nolan Ryan memorabilia. So I guess Lynn's got all that to deal with. But he was a good guy. That's all. That's what I can say. He was a good guy. I could depend on him on any project that he was assigned. He came through. And boy, it's hard in today's world with this generation of people. That's hard to find.
Shout out to Mr. Brent, a real legend behind the scenes in professional wrestling. Let's talk a little bit about another legend. There's a story out here in 2005, and I don't think a lot of people believe this would ever happen, but Bret Hart has agreed to work with the WWE to create a Bret Hart DVD. They're going to be collaborating on a new DVD set that chronicles his entire WWE career. But allegedly, the way they make this happen is they had presented the idea of creating a DVD called Screwed, the Bret Hart story, sort of their own Bret Hart burial, the Bret Hart version of the self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior. And had Bret not agreed to do this set, they were going to move forward with a negative DVD. Is that real, or is that, I mean, that can't be real. Like, hey, if you don't want to help us, we'll just do one shitting on you instead.
It's real.
Wow.
It's real, Conrad. Well, yeah, you exert the leverage that you've got and utilize it because it's timely. And everybody was hot on the idea. So, Bret cooperated to the best as he could. His conscience would allow him. Bret's always been prone to get, unfortunately, to step into bullshit. And it makes him look bad. And this might have been one of those instances.
SaveWithConrad.com.
My name is Rajiv. I'm in Sacramento, California. I came to Save with Conrad because I've heard Conrad talk about how he helps people all the time save money and the best route to go for getting some mortgages and finances done. And having heard so many different testimonials in the past, it made the most sense to go this route. We were in the market for a new house and we wanted to know what we could afford. So we spoke with Steve and then Diane to get through the pre-approval process to see what we could afford. And then once we were able to understand that aspect of it, that was when we were able to shop around for a house to get a mortgage through Save with Conrad. Everybody on the team was great. Everybody really explained everything fully to where it was more in like layman's terms to where I could understand it as someone not in the business or having shopped around for houses too many times. So being able to understand every step of the process and talking with everyone on the team about that was really, really helpful. And it made me feel really confident that I was going the right route. I would definitely recommend Save with Conrad to others. I know that sometimes people look at it and they go, oh, they're based in Alabama. What could they help me with? But I'm out here in California and they were able to square everything away and get things done really quickly, as opposed to sometimes even people out here don't move as quickly as the Save with Conrad team. So everything was really well done, really efficient, and I would definitely recommend Save with Conrad to others. My name is Rajiv. I'm in Sacramento, California, and I was able to get into my dream home with SaveWithConrad.com.
That's number 2129, Equal Housing Lender. SaveWithConrad.com.